30 years of the best sports talk in Middle Tennessee, featuring Tennessee Radio Hall of Famer George Plaster, Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame coach Watson Brown, and young guns Billy Derrick. And now, here's your host, George Plaster.
Hello again, everybody. Welcome in. It is a hot July 3rd, and given the fact that we're in July, it ought to be hot. Happy 4th of July to all of you. Hope that you have a great holiday as we celebrate our country's birthday. And however you may do this, hope that it is safe and that you have yourself a lot of fun. Let's check in Murfreesboro first and say hello to Kelly Holcomb. Kelly, how are you?
I'm good, Jorge. How you doing?
I'm doing good. Did you have a good weekend?
It was good. Yeah, it was a good weekend. Son got home. I had all my kids here for one night, which was good. That never happens anymore. And then my oldest, who just got married, went to Florida. She got back from when Billy left. She left. She got down there when Billy left, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
So
timed it that way, huh?
It's good. Yeah, probably.
Okay.
Yeah, Billy went to the Redneck Riviera. He had a little rest and relaxation.
Yeah, let's check in with Billy. There he is. Gee, nice suntan.
Yeah, how does it look? I'm not as pale, or has nothing changed?
No, you're not as pale.
But it's still not the Greek olive look.
No, nothing's going to be.
I don't think I'll ever get there, George.
Yeah. No, I think you're right. You've just got to settle for what you are and what you've got.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
You can't always look like the Greek olive of George. I mean, that God has blessed you with a nice skin tone, George.
Thank you. So did you have a nice vacation?
I did. It was good. It was good to be down there. Kelly, I was telling Kelly earlier about the Redneck Riviera. Mm-hmm. It's all people from the South, I feel like, because it's right there. It's on that western, bottom tip of Florida. So you don't get, I feel like it's all people from the South. So we liked it. But yeah, Kelly said his family was all together. Our family was all together for first time in a long time. So
right. How many over under 50?
Not 50, but we were we probably had a total with our family, probably 25 people there, maybe. So,
really?
But it wasn't even everybody. I mean,
yeah,
there could have been more, but yeah, we were able to get all together. It was fun.
Okay.
George, did Billy bring back the mics and the lights? Can we just open up a can right here?
A little bit of an issue. Exactly where are we on those issues?
Maybe they're back. They're in my car, so I'm ready to haul them back into Ford Ice Center.
Yeah. They might have helped last Wednesday.
But George, I told you before to make it easier on David. Use what we've got. We've got these mics.
Mm-hmm.
Make it easier. And George wants to bring the handheld mics, and bringing those in, I don't think would have made it easier for
Kelly.
David.
We're talking about the lighting.
I thought you were talking about you wanted the handheld mics too.
Like, Billy, why are we trying to make it easy on David? He gets paid too. Like, let's go, dude. Grow up.
Yeah, but that was his first big week all alone, having to haul everything to Bridgestone. Like, hey, let's make it easy.
He was so excited about it, he's ended up leaving at the end of this week. David's out of here. He's found greener pastures. And look, we're happy for him. I'm very happy for him. But don't mix the two up there.
Don't mix the two.
No. The point is, let there be light.
Let there be light.
Okay, and instead you put us in total darkness.
I'll take the blame for that.
Wow. Didn't hear that last week, did we, Kelly?
No, we did not. And I will say, I don't know if y'all are using them today, but it is brighter in that room. I can tell.
Well, yeah. I mean, we've got lighting in here. In the arena, there's a certain amount of lighting in the concourse, and they really can't go any farther than that. And so, I kept saying, didn't I pay for lighting?
Well,
yeah, it's in Billy's car in Cuba.
well, we'll make sure at SEC Media Days that we are well lit, and we can see that George face.
Mm-hmm. I don't doubt that you got lit in Florida.
I thought you would have been happier to be in the darkness a little bit.
Yeah, but I mean, I get where you're going. You're trying to weasel your way out of this, and Kelly and I are not going to let that happen.
No, not going to happen.
The bottom line is it was a huge administrative error on your end. There's just no other way around it.
I mean, can we see a
major screw up?
Can we see a suspension coming or a garnishment of wages or something like that?
I like that garnishment. That's a big word. What exactly garnishment? What does that mean?
I don't know. It just sounded good, and I've used it forever. So
right, and it sounds very official. It sounds like we're about to have a garnishment.
The garnishment of wages.
I mean, it sounds really serious.
Sounds scary.
Yeah. So do we have an update in our future?
We sure do.
We're just going to sit here and chew the fat all day.
Talk about the garnishment. Mm-hmm. No, we've got an update, and it involves the Braves. They get a franchise record 8 All-Stars. Matt Olson,
the Ocho,
the
ESPN, the Ocho. Ozzie Albies, Austin Riley, they were added as All-Star reserves along with Bryce Elder and Spencer Strider. They joined 3 Braves who were already elected to the lineup: Acuna, Murphy, and Arcia. I mean, this is unprecedented.
It's happened, I think, one other time.
Yeah, 8 All-Stars is the most from any team since 2012. The Rangers had 8. It's the first time the Braves have had 6 position players make the All-Star team, and the first time their entire infield made it. And I liked this. David O'Brien of The Athletic, who does a great job, I pulled this from his article. Ozzie Albies said, Ron Washington said it's probably the most emotional day of his career because all of his infielders are going to the All-Star game. That's probably pretty rare. You know, to have, I mean, as a coach, that's like in the NFL, I guess. But even in the NFL, it probably doesn't happen. Getting like all your receivers to the Pro Bowl or something like that. I mean, that's rare.
This one's got a little bit of to the victor goes the spoils. And we're going to talk about the Braves later because obviously at the moment they are on fire.
And fuego.
But a tad bit of it may be fool's gold. We're going to talk about that later.
You pumping the brakes a little bit?
A little bit, yeah. I mean, look, they're really good. We'll get into this later. Move on to item number 2.
Good tease, George.
Yeah.
Rickie Fowler. I'm happy for Rickie. I know Kelly is too. He won the Rocket Mortgage Classic.
Fowler, baby.
It had been over 4 years since his last win. That was 2019 in Phoenix. Fowler beat out Morikawa and Adam Hadwin in a playoff, and Kelly, he had to birdie just to get into the playoff. So he was kind of hanging by a thread there late.
Yeah, and he got the luck of the draw with hitting it, out of the fairway, but he hit it over there where all the people had been walking, and it was in a mud hole. It was in the water, and he got a free drop to get it out of that, and he hit an excellent shot in there and got it for birdie. That was everybody. It seemed like everybody at that course was for him. I know I was for him. The guy's been he was a 54-hole leader at the U.S. Open. He's got Butch Harmon as his swing coach now. He's playing better. He seems like a good guy, and I think everybody wanted him to win. And that was pretty impressive. He's playing some really good golf right now.
Don't you think he's kind of replaced Phil Mickelson as the sort of the gallery favorite? Because it used to be Mickelson until people figured out some things, shall we say.
You may be right, George. I don't know. Phil Mickelson's won so many golf tournaments and won so many majors, but Rickie, he's a household favorite when you go around to these courses. You see all those guys, all those kids wearing their orange for Oklahoma State, from Sunday. So I think everybody was happy for him. I'm sure the guys in the PGA Tour were happy for him. Adam Hadwin hadn't won in a while either. I think it's been 6 years, and then Morikawa has not won since the 21 Open Championship where he won. So all 3 of those guys needed to win, but I think Rickie he came through when he needed to.
Isn't this a sponsorship opportunity for Tennessee?
For Tennessee?
Yeah, I mean the guy wears orange.
He wears
a lot of orange.
Is Puma still working with him? I wonder.
He does.
Yeah,
I think he does. Yeah.
I mean, Rickie Fowler, looking back early in his career, he was the guy. He was the young, electric player, but he was shorter and he wasn't as big as the bigger guys like a Scheffler or a Koepka. And I think he might have. I don't know if that rubbed him the wrong way, but it's almost like he got stepped on a little bit. When you have a lot of the newer age after him of younger guys. So it's been good to watch him kind of fight back and claw back in his career.
Big win yesterday.
Big win. George, the Chicago street race was yesterday, and this was a NASCAR race. I had to watch it. It sucked that the rain.
Bad weather.
Yeah, the rain shortened the race, so they had to shorten it, and it actually helped out the winner, Shane Van Gisbergen from New Zealand. This was his first ever NASCAR race, and he wins the Chicago street race, which was the first ever NASCAR race to be on a street in a downtown area. But I didn't know if y'all watched any of it. I had to check into it. It was raining for a lot of it, but I mean, I think that's cool that NASCAR is starting to dip into some new things. It's probably helping out their audience, although it did rain yesterday.
Don't you think they're kind of stealing it from the Grand Prix?
Oh, yeah.
Grand Prix, whatever, however you want to call it.
Interestingly enough, the same guys that are going to build the course at the Grand Prix in Nashville were up there.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they definitely did.
So, Kelly, the Cubs normally play on a Sunday afternoon at like 1:20 Nashville time. Because of the race, they delayed the start of their game until 4:00, but the rain delayed it until about 5:30. Then they went to extra innings. They scored 4 in the bottom of the ninth to tie San Fran and then lost in 10 innings. That game ended like at 9:00. So it was a busy sports day in Chicago.
How long did it take, Billy? How long did it take them to get that wreck undone where everybody piled up? I mean, did they have to red flag the race to get all that?
Oh yeah, I don't know exactly how long, but that was, I mean, maybe 2 hours. I mean, it was long. Like, wow. I don't think it was quite 2 hours, but I mean, that's a long delay, so they had to shorten it. I mean, they had no other option.
Who showed it? Who televised it?
I think it was NBC. I
bet they got good numbers.
Yeah, I bet they did. Now, the rain probably pushed some people away from it just because it wasn't as, action packed maybe, and maybe a little bit slower driving because it's different when you're raining and you're in a downtown area. So it's interesting kind of looking back at some guys, how they feel about it. Did you like it? Did you hate it? What do you think? Should NASCAR do this again?
Yeah.
And it's gotten people talking about NASCAR.
The fact that
we don't even usually talk about NASCAR.
Well, the fact that it's got them talking says, darn right, we're going to do it again.
Yeah. Maybe Nashville. Who knows?
Maybe. Who knows?
Who knows? George, Wimbledon starts today. Y'all going to be watching?
Quiet, please.
I like watching it.
I'll watch when it gets interesting.
Mrs. Graf. Mrs. Graf. They're kind of a humorless group over there.
Oh,
I mean,
I watch when it gets interesting, but I don't watch the first couple of rounds. It's
quiet, please.
It's totally different than the sports that we normally talk about.
Yeah.
But I was listening to an interview.
The championship.
The championship.
Yes.
I was listening to an interview the other day, and it's basically where like the golf world unites like every year, where they have
tennis.
Or what did I?
Right.
George, I'm rusty.
Okay, when they get to golf for the British Open, then the guy will say
the same thing for the British Open.
Jordan Spieth.
4, please. 4, please.
Spieth.
The tennis world reunites. So
yes.
that's what I've heard.
Yeah.
Screwed that one up.
It is. Look, there's some good stuff now. Djokovic is for real.
Dominant.
Always.
Rafael Nadal, heck of a player when he's not hurt. But this is not the old Jimmy Connors and McEnroe and Boris Becker and Roscoe Tanner and Bjorn Borg.
Oh, wow.
That's when tennis was fun.
There was some heated rivalries back then. That's for sure. I don't even know. Of course, I don't watch tennis much, but like, I don't even know if there is there a rivalry anymore between guys.
It's probably Djokovic and Nadal.
Yeah, and then
Roger Federer. I mean,
in on any of
Federer
them.
was, yeah.
But I've heard some stories about McEnroe.
Oh, my God.
he was wild.
He was a wild man.
He's still wild.
Yeah, and he and Connors really got into it. And then Borg was just this stoic, you're not getting me into your crap. I mean, nothing fazed him. You talk about great ground strokes, Bjorn Borg.
I'll look at the highlights tonight.
Yeah.
Billy, you should have seen the tennis rackets back then, the old wooden ones that had a little head about that big. It wasn't very big.
And then they went to these big old jobbies.
Oh, yeah.
First of all, there was in the 80s, Roscoe Tanner from Lookout Mountain, Tennessee, made it all the way to the finals with his 140-mile-per-hour serve. None of you know nothing about any of this, dude.
No, I'm surprised by your tennis knowledge, George.
He knows
I was
nothing.
a big tennis fan.
Really?
I was back then. Then there was Guillermo Vilas, who couldn't come to the net, didn't want to come to the net, just sat. He kind of played like I did, just sit back and let the other guy make the mistakes.
Play defense.
Yeah.
Yvonne Lendl was good. He was a good one.
I forgot about Yvonne Lendl.
So
tennis. There was a point where tennis in the 80s
was huge.
I think was the equivalent of golf.
Well, it was
Really?
good stuff.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then it kind of fell apart when we really didn't have in this country a ton of great people step up. Andre Agassi. And then there really weren't many.
Yeah.
And I got to admit,
yeah.
in recent years, when I watch Wimbledon, I'm like, who the hell are they?
Yeah.
No clue.
Well,
Never heard of half of them.
It was Coco Gauff. Was that last year or 2 years ago?
Yeah.
I mean, that was an incredible story, but it's like you just don't get enough of them anymore, you know? But yeah, I like watching it. I like how by the end of the week, the grass is, I mean, it's brown. It's like a light brown. That's what I always like seeing how it wears down.
Quiet, please. Advantage, Mrs. Graf.
They get serious about that stuff over there, man.
Oh, yeah.
Serious.
You know, if you misbehave, they will toss your butt.
You're out of there.
You be out of here.
Go on.
Okay. Let me see if I've got all this right. Are we done?
That's it, George.
Okay. Mark McGee's going to join us again. We've had him working on like a retainer. He will join us in a few minutes to talk about Predator.
Give the money you're taking away from me to Mark this week because of my mistake last week.
The wage garnishment.
Yeah.
Okay. That's a good idea. I like that. Garnishment.
That's right.
Whatever the hell that means. We'll go to the break. Mark McGee to talk a little bit about a busy weekend in the land of the Nashville Predators. Stay tuned.
How am I going to get to work? My car's totaled.
Skylar, our team is making a call right now. We'll get you a rental car. Don't worry.
That's a relief.
Call us 24/7. We're here. We're going to help.
Year number 2 of the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night was awesome. And the reason is really simple. I chose Strike and Spare, and they were amazing. They have great food, great bowling, and a staff that is truly ready to go the extra mile to help you. They have 5 family fun centers in the area to choose from, and for more info, go to strikeandspare.com or call them at 615-824-5685. Now that the weather has gotten considerably warmer, there's not a better place to spend a morning or an afternoon than Riverside Golf Lanes. So you've probably noticed the weather has gotten a lot warmer, and that means a couple of things in Nashville. It means baseball, and it really means golf. And for me, it's a visit to Riverside Golf Links. The course has improved dramatically. There are now 27 holes, including a 9-hole executive course. If you want tee times or more information, dial them up at 615-847-5074.
You can't see the sights without the sounds. From the crack of the bat to the roar of the crowd and everything in between, discover what Hit City has to offer. Spend your nights cheering on the Nashville Sounds at First Horizon Park with giveaways, fireworks shows, theme weekends, and more. Single game tickets are on sale now. Visit NashvilleSounds.com to claim your seat today.
So who said I can't be a golfer? Well, you know what? This is X Golf, located just down the road from the Fordyce Center in Bellevue. This is fun. It'll improve your golf game, and you need to stop in and check it out. 8138 Sawyer Brown Road, and who knows, I may get to 200 before it's all over. We are back. It's interesting that both the NBA and the NHL use right around the start of July and, going into the 4th of July as a big free agent period. I don't know if it was always that way. I find it interesting. I guess, at some point you shoot off fireworks, you have a hot dog, and then you go sign a free agent.
All right.
It does sound like sort of what they do. So let's bring Mark McGee to our microphones again. Mark has had great information for us about what's been going on with the Preds. Gee, how are you?
I'm doing great, George. How are you today?
Good, and thank you for coming on with us.
No problem.
Barry Trotz, it is becoming more and more apparent that Barry Trotz did some serious evaluating and soul searching about where this whole franchise was, and he's come out swinging.
He has. And, Ron Johansson and Matt Duchene were big moves for him. He admits they were good players, and they were for the most part, but with the exception of Duchene a couple years ago, these guys didn't really play $8 million players. And I just wonder, Barry made the statement, we don't want people to come here to retire. We want them to come here to win. A lot of people are wondering if that was a backward slap at Duchene and Johansson a little bit. I don't know. You kind of have to wonder that some. They said that. But he had a busy first day. It was his first day at work officially, and had to be the free agent signing day first day, and he got busy.
Okay, we're going to get into those. But, Guy, I get asked this question some, and I know we're doing nothing but speculating. But Here goes. Barry Trotz had to go to somebody and say, okay, this is the way I've evaluated this mess. Here are the pieces that I want to get rid of, but we're going to be forced in the open market to pay to get some people to take on these little problem children. This reminds me a lot of when the Braves were trying to get rid of B.J. Upton in a 5-year, $75 million contract that Frank Wren saddled them in. So when Trotz went to whomever, who is that whomever in your mind?
Well, I think probably Bill Haslam had to have a lot to do with this. He's now the majority owner of the team. I think that he had to give the go-ahead on this. And I think, everybody says he wants a winning team. So he's got the money to help them do that. So I think he just said, Barry, whatever you do it. So I think that's my speculation on that, but I can't say for sure, but like I said, we're speculating. So I figured that's where that came from. And he was the new face in the crowd to begin with as an ownership situation. So, I think those things combined, point toward him.
But
Barry, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. So I was just, Barry. I think they have to have respect for Barry's experience. I mean, Barry's won a Stanley Cup, and he knows what with Washington. He knows what it takes to win a Stanley Cup. So I think they had to let Barry say, "Okay, this is what I want to do, and this is our start. We're not going to be ready completely yet, but this is our start for this."
He has said some things, and as you know, when he was out here for our sports speaker series, he said some things that indicated he didn't name any names, but he kept talking about, I want good clubhouse chemistry. I want people that want to be here. I want good work ethic. I mean, Gee, it was almost like he was saying it without saying it.
Well, yeah, it's the same thing he said about, I don't want players to come here because they want to retire here. I want them to be winners. He said that the other day at the press conference after the signings. And I think that he keeps on coming back to that. I think, these, was it like I said, a backhanded slap at those guys that Johansson, Duchesne? I don't know. It sounds like it was. It sounds like it was back during the speaker series as well. I mean, I don't think either one of them was really garnering a lot of his. I don't think he really was all that excited by either one of them.
Mark, again, I'm going to do some speculating here. It got out, and I reported it shortly after the fact, that there was, back in January, and I don't have the exact dates in front of me, there was a night where they got ripped around pretty good in St. Louis, got beat 5-1 or 5-2, and really were not very competitive. Yeah. Then they had some sort of a players-only meeting where I'm told both Johansson and Duchesne got trashed by their fellow players, which is really, you don't hear that very often, but it got out here that had gone on. I'm guessing here, I don't know this, that Barry Trotz probably decided on 2 or 3 what I would call leaders of the team, where he said to them, this is what I think I see, talk to me. And my guess is that they continued on that narrative.
Well, I'm sure guys like Roman Josi and Philip Forsberg were definitely 2 players he talked to, because they're definitely the leaders of the team now, for sure.
And he had a past history.
Exactly. So I think that I'm sure he talked to a lot of the players. Barry's a very deliberate guy, and I'm sure he talked to as many people as possible before sitting down and making these decisions. Because Johansson, you're paying half his salary. That's not too bad a deal for a couple of years, But the Duchesne deal was an expensive proposition. And that was a major financial decision for them. So it wasn't cheap. And of course, he goes to Dallas for $3 million for a year, which kind of makes you wonder how much Dallas thinks about him. I mean, they're going to give him a 1-year contract. I mean, come on, So interesting. It's an interesting situation all around. But we'll have to see next year how it works out. This coming season.
Last thing that I want to get to, and then we'll turn it over to Kelly. Ryan O'Reilly, everything I've read from NHL people that know a heck of a lot more than I do, seems to indicate 4 years, $18 million was pretty much right on the ball of what he was worth.
Yeah, he had a finger injury last year, which I think a lot of people were wondering about. But he played well for Toronto. After that, he was a rental player for Toronto and looked pretty strong in the playoffs for them, especially. So he's a player that kind of goes back to what we were talking about. Barry described him the other day, the press conference. He's a leader, and people follow him. And he's a Stanley Cup champion. He's an MVP, Conn Smythe Award winner in the playoffs. I mean, he's got a winning pedigree, and so all those things. He's going to be a leader in that dressing room for sure. And that's what we're looking for is a leadership situation. He'll be good for. Barry's talking about bringing all these guys are 30 plus that he signed, but he's talking about, got a lot of young guys on this team, and they need to have some veteran leadership telling them what to do, or helping them out, making some changes in their games or whatever.
Kelly, say hello to Gee.
What's up, Mark? How you doing, man?
Kelly Holcomb, what's happening?
I'm good, man. Just getting kicked up. My daughter started basketball the other day for Lipscomb, so I'm just it's her last season, man. I don't know how I'm going to feel about that.
It's going to be a tough year. I mean, that'd be tough to watch her play. At least you should still be playing, though. That's good. The team should be pretty good this year, I hope.
I think we'll be better. I told my wife the other day, I was thinking about that. I can't imagine the last game of this upcoming season. She's been there for 4 years, and it's going to be her 5th year. I'm not looking forward to that.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of the end of an era for sure.
That's for sure. So you guys talked about Ryan O'Reilly, but it looks like that Barry Trotz, and I'm with George. He's come in and he's made moves. I mean, he signed the Luke. Is it Skeen? Is that how you say his name?
Luke Sheen.
Luke Sheen. He signed how many guys? 7 guys. So how did these guys fit into the team, you think, Mark?
Well, three are unrestricted free agents that he signed. The others he signed were restricted free agents on the team. But he got Luke because he's a big defenseman, and like he said in the conference today, he's tired of Roman Josi takes some pretty big hits, and he doesn't want to see Roman Josi take some big hits. And with Luke running around there, they're not going to hit Josi quite so hard this next season. So that was one reason they got him. And Gustav Nyquist, he brings a little bit of offense as well. Also, he's quote a good teammate and a good person to have in your dressing room, and I think that's what George and I were talking a few minutes ago. That's what he's looking for, is good people in the dressing room right now, and that they're going, especially with these young players, and and you got guys and Nyquist will be good for Cody Glass, who that was one of the restricted free agents they signed for a couple, and so I mean. I've been looking at some analysis, and the Hockey News ranks saying at the beginning that it's too early really to say who the losers and winners are in free agency, but they rank Nashville as a loser. They say they think that, and Nashville's still lacking. I've said this before. Barry's even said this. They're still lacking that big time offensive threat. I mean, Ryan O'Reilly will probably take over as the first line center. But he'll score goals, but he's not an 80-point or 90-point a year guy, and that's what the Predators need on a consistent basis. They need somebody that they can depend on to lead that team as far as scoring goes and that type of thing. And they don't have that yet.
So let me ask you this, Mark. I don't know if you know this, but like in the NFL, when a new coach comes in, he obviously brings everybody with him. Is that the same in the NHL? I mean, Barry Trotz has come there as a new GM, obviously, and then he's brought in a head coach that he knows that played for him. But I mean, it goes all the way down to the strength coach. I mean, did they bring in their own guys just like these other professions?
It varies from team to team, but sometimes they keep a coach or two just for continuity standpoint. And Andrew Burnett has a certain approach. I mean, he's a very offensive-minded. Aggressive offensive-minded coach, and so he brought in some people he's worked with. He hasn't really worked with that many people, to be honest, and so he doesn't have that much of a history from that standpoint. He's had a couple of coaches, but I haven't looked at that much from that standpoint. But I think one or two guys from the old staff are going to hang around. It looks like.
Yeah, well,
it's never a complete overhaul.
Yeah, well, I just didn't. I didn't know about that. And this is my last question, George. And this is kind of intriguing to me because this is my step into the NHL. But it kind of floored me the other day when y'all talked about they've drafted all these kids and they've drafted all these guys that are like 18 years old. But like their first round pick is going to go back to UConn. The other kid is going to go play somewhere else. Like, how does that work, Guy? Like, how, like with a contract, like how does that work? Do they sign all these kids right away, or Like what if a
No,
kid goes? What if a kid goes back to college and he tears his knee up and he's done for his career? Like, how does that work?
They have 2 years to sign them.
Okay.
Entry level. They had 2 years to sign an entry level contract, and so they've got some time from that standpoint. So if something does happen, and sometimes waiting around like that, players change their minds. They had a player a couple years ago. His name escapes me, but he was a pretty good prospect who changed his mind, decided he didn't want to sign with the Predators after a couple of years. So so it's but yeah, they have a there's a window there for you to sign those players. And Connor Bedard is a huge exception. I mean, very few players step into the NHL as 18-year-olds or whatever, but he's going to. And probably be a major player for Chicago, and I probably will be a major player for Chicago for the Blackhawks. But very few players don't go through a couple of years either back in college or back in junior hockey, or even going to Milwaukee for a year or two. It's a process, and you really don't know for 2 or 3 years really how good a draft you had.
And George, that kind of blows my mind. I just had to ask that question because when I went into the National Football League, I wasn't ready either, but that's just the thing. You go in and with this NHL stuff, it's kind of, it's odd to me about that, because I always think about, like, what if a kid gets hurt, or like when do the contracts get signed? Or I didn't know that a kid could just opt out. He don't want to play for them. Like, how does that work? Like, if you come back, I would say that the Predators still own your rights if you don't want to play for them. How does that work?
They haven't signed a contract. They're pretty still loose. They can do what they want to do after that. I think I'm pretty sure that's the case.
Wow.
But they haven't. The entry level contract usually is a 2 year. They've got 2 years to do that.
Okay. Wow.
So, Guy, let me toss one last thing at you and get your opinion. You and I have heard in the last week to 10 days, UC Saros's name has come up in trade possibilities. Is this simply Barry Trotz maybe saying, this is the only chance I've got to get that number one center?
Yeah, I mean, that's I would have to agree with that. That this is the time. If you're going to make that kind of move, he's the biggest piece that you have of the puzzle. And right, there are a lot of goaltenders out there right now, but Saros is definitely head and shoulders above most of those guys. So, he would be the biggest bargaining chip you have from that standpoint. But a lot of people are saying that maybe this team, probably make the playoffs again this year after last year not making it. But a lot of people are saying maybe they should have just bitten the bullet this year and just and just had another year to rebuild and retool. And Barry's doing that, but maybe they do like that one premier player, and he knows that. We all know that, and so maybe that's what he's trying to do. It's just he's throwing Saros' name out there to see what chum in the waters, to see who pops up and takes the bait.
Do you think free agency is over for the Preds?
I don't know. Probably so right now. I think so. I think if they do anything else, it's going to be a trade situation.
Yeah. Okay.
I think it's kind of like it's kind of like buying Christmas gifts that they're in short supply. Everybody jumped out on Saturday and bought everything they wanted for the most part. And what's left, I guess you can look and evaluate and see. But most of the good pieces were bought on Saturday. And so, there might be somebody out there still they're looking at, but I think it's going to be a trade possibility. I don't know if it's going to be Saros necessarily, but I'm kind of hoping it's not. But I think that's going to be their next move from that standpoint.
Guy, appreciate it as always. You have done great work for us over the last week and a half, and I can't thank you enough for that.
Glad to help out. Thank you.
Mark McGee, he knows his stuff when it comes to the Predators and to hockey in general. He joins us here on the show. When we come back, we'll get to my favorite baseball team, which just happens to be hotter than the 4th of July. But first, let's talk Music City Grand Prix. Okay, you see down there at the bottom of the screen the dates, August 4th through the 6th. I'm intrigued. I've never been to a Grand Prix before, but like a lot of you who would be in the same boat, I've been listening to people saying, yeah, I went for the first time in the last year or two, and it's one of the coolest sporting events I've ever attended. You know, if I'd heard that once, maybe I'd have said, I don't know. But I've heard it a bunch, and that's got my attention. So I have accepted an invitation. I will be there that weekend and really looking forward to the fun. This group has done a terrific job of marketing. They've got more musical acts than you can shake a stick at over those 3 days. The racing speaks for itself. The uniqueness of the course with the football stadium in the background, that says a lot as well. Tickets have been on sale now for a good 6 to 8 weeks. You can go to musiccitygp.com and you'll find price ranges from the bottom, general admission, all the way up to some huge amenities. They'll have a price point for every last one of you. We'll go to the break, and then we'll talk Tomahawk Chop with the Atlanta Braves. Stay tuned.
As the trusted premier custom home builder in Middle Tennessee, Donnelly Timmons has over 20 years of experience in the industry. Whether you're looking to build your dream home or renovate your current home, their team will ensure that every client and every remodel is unique, luxurious, and completed on time within budget. Founders Dustin Timmons and Joey Donnelly have over 25 years of construction experience in the Nashville area. Together, they have completed projects in Forest Hills, Oak Hill, Green Hills, Franklin, and Brentwood. Dustin and Joey believe that communication is the most important aspect of all construction projects. Therefore, they personally manage each project themselves and are involved in job site activities on a daily basis. Their commitment to quality and integrity has earned them an outstanding reputation among their clients. Contact them to set an appointment for a free consultation or to view some of their completed projects. Give them a call at 615-456-7983 or log on to DonnellyTimmons.com.
For over 35 years, Wilson Bank & Trust has been committed to providing customized banking solutions to help individuals, families, and businesses in Tennessee achieve their goals. As your full-service community bank, we are proud to offer loans with competitive rates, local decision-making, and fast, friendly service from our experienced lenders. No matter where you are on your financial journey, Wilson Bank & Trust is ready to help you take the next step. Visit your nearest Wilson Bank & Trust office or online at wilsonbank.com to get started today. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Family owned and operated for more than 2 decades, Alaco Fine Wood Floors is Nashville and Middle Tennessee's choice for premium quality hardwood floors. Since 1995, Jimmy Alaco and his army of employees have embodied the approach of taking pride in one's craft and providing superior customer service, growing from a one-man shop to a team of 23 professionals who share the founder's passion for quality craftsmanship and customer satisfaction. If you are interested in contacting them, you can find their headquarters at 2505 Winford Avenue in Berry Hill, or give them a call at 615-356-0303. Again, that's 615-356-0303, or log on to alacofinewoodfloors.com. Alaco Fine Wood Floors, serving Middle Tennessee's hardwood flooring needs since 1995.
At Baird, we have a different slant on global financial advice. That global capabilities mean nothing without personal attention. We have investor relationships in 35 countries and market expertise in over 40 industry verticals, all to help make the most important investment connections of all, yours. Global financial advice with a client-first approach. It's the shape of things to come. Discover the Baird difference at BairdDifference.com.
Okay, a couple of 100,000 words about my favorite baseball team. They are red hot. This is the third time this year that they have had an 8-game winning streak. 3 different times they've had this happen. They're in Cleveland tonight trying to go for number 9 against the Guardians. So over the weekend, and rightfully so, I've been hearing a lot of this, they're the best team in baseball. Well, here's where I'm going to come from with this, because it's going to be a little bit of pump the brakes. Y'all have heard me over the years, over the last 3 or 4 years, I've used the phrase, the Braves are going to win a world title sometime in the next 5 years. I was saying it before they won it in 2021, and I believed it because I see this good young nucleus they have put together that is this offense from hell if you're having to pitch against it. I've also, after the fact, put it back out there that, look, I believe they're going to win another world title with this group. I just think this group, their everyday lineup is massive. But here the pump the brakes stuff to me. Number one, right now this team is hitting homers like they're going out of style. I was in Cincinnati for that Friday night game where the two teams combined for 9 homers. Nine times. Then Friday night, the Braves and a little bit of the Florida Marlins hit 7. Okay. Some of this is simply the time of year.
And that was down in Miami, right?
No,
or
it was in
Atlanta. Okay.
It was in Atlanta. Balls are flying. Balls are absolutely flying right now. That thing that Travis d'Arnaud hit yesterday, it ain't getting out in October. Postseason baseball is different.
Is this something you see every year in Major League Baseball?
Yeah,
or
but
this year?
I've kind of gotten on this kick a little bit because I think in postseason, it's different baseball.
Mm-hmm.
Balls don't fly as far.
Pitching and defense.
You've got to be willing to play for the small ball.
Mm-hmm.
You may have to bunt. You think back to when they won it 2 years ago. Here are 2 things that stood out that nobody could have seen coming. Eddie Rosario out of his mind in the postseason 2 years ago.
They don't win it without him.
Tyler Madsick.
Yep.
Where did that come from? I thought Tyler Madsick was kind of a disposable part.
Yeah.
Now, the Braves took Miami over the weekend, the closest competitor, and basically said, we are your daddy. I mean, you can call it what you want. They beat the hell out of them. They beat the absolute living snot out of them.
And Miami's the second place team in the division.
Yeah, and there had been some Marlins popping off about, we're going to go into Atlanta and, we're going to whatever.
They're talking.
And I don't think that went over real well. Kelly, all I'm saying is, do I think this team is going to win it all? Maybe. They're certainly one of 4 or 5 teams out there that's good enough to win it all. But the playoffs are a weird deal. I mean, the first round is best 3 out of 5. And as they found out a year ago, Philly got hot and beat the hell out of them. Remember how badly Philly beat them?
Oh, they killed them.
You know this, George, though. It's like with any pro sport. When you go to the playoffs, the intensity kicks up. The pressure mounts. And the expectations build. So I think that's kind of, where you're at. Now, I was going to ask you this. I want to ask you a question.
Okay.
So we've talked about it in length. When I was growing up, the Dale Murphys, the Bob Horners, the Chris Chamises, the Rafael Ramirez, I used to watch them every night on TBS, and they weren't very good.
Don't forget Rufino Linares.
We lost Kelly's mic.
Oh, this is a tragedy.
No, we're good.
Administrative
He's
error.
back. He's back.
I don't know what happened.
Well, hold on. What
very
was
delicate
this,
here.
Was this a Billy error or
No, this was a Meyer. I hit something. I don't know what
okay,
happened.
so we can't blame this on Billy.
No, it's all my fault. I figured it
It'd been
out.
a hell of a lot more fun if we could.
So when did all that change, George? Like when Bobby Cox came there, who did they get in there? Because they're really good with finding talent. I mean, the Strider guy and the other pitcher they got 3 pitchers like in 2020, I think, is that when it was, that they took in later rounds. Like who is the guy responsible for this to start all this in the minor leagues and to get that going, where they were really bad when I was growing up? Had some great people on the team, but they didn't ever win any games. They didn't win the big games. And now you get Bobby Cox there, and then everything starts changing. And now you've got, I mean, they're just killing folks with 8 guys on the All-Star team.
They made a decision to rebuild in like 2013.
Okay.
And they went through kind of about 3.5 years where they really were kind of out of sight, out of mind.
It was misery.
Oh, God. The Jace Peterson era.
Chris Medlin.
The Manny Banuelos era.
The late years of Dan Ogla.
So their intention, they had a general manager and a president of baseball operations, John Hart, the former Cleveland leader, and now I can't think of the guy.
Shearholes?
No, the GM, John Capalella.
Yes.
They were cheating their ass off, and they got caught by the commissioner. They got caught by the commissioner's office at the end of the 2017 season. Their intention was to fire Brian Snitker. In fact, they had it all planned to do it at the end of the 2017 season. They had a huge shouting match with Snitker a month earlier. And this got out pretty publicly, so I'm not really speaking out of turn, but their intention was to get rid of Snitker. Well, the commissioner's office catching all this is the best thing that ever happened. Snitker has been great for that franchise. Then they bring in Alex Anthopoulos, good Greek boy. I want to meet him someday and throw a little Greek at him, see if he, knows all the bad words I know. But what has really happened is they have struck gold on virtually everything they have touched since he's been there. They got Acuna way below market value. They were able to get Ozzie Albies signed so far below market value that it's obscene. And so they've been able to sign up this whole group. They made a decision to go with Austin Riley instead of Josh Donaldson. And now 3 years later, that move looks brilliant. Donaldson's hitting about 150 and getting his butt booed at Yankee Stadium. Austin Riley has developed into one of the top 1 or 2 third basemen in the National League. They have hit on virtually everything. And like this year, okay, you mentioned Billy Bryce Elder going to the All-Star game. He was in AAA to start the season.
Yep.
Right.
I've seen him pitch here any number of times. Well, all of a sudden they get some people hurt. Bryce Elder's going in, look like Cy Young. They have no right to have expected that.
Yeah.
They really have not. Now, the Soroka thing that I have been all over, he started Friday night. When he was good, he was very good. When he was bad, he was awful. He had one really bad inning where he looked like a heavyweight who got hit with a Mack truck and he started wobbling. And they've got to get him to the point, because this has sort of become the story on Soroka. He'll pitch well, have a really bad inning, and then rebound. Kelly, I think they've got a decision to make in the next 2 to 3 weeks. Is Soroka good enough for them not to go into the trade market for a starting pitcher? I think that's what a lot of this is going to come down to.
Yeah, so he pitched Friday night, you said. Now, they haven't sent him down, right? They haven't sent him down again. Yeah.
No, I think he's there for good.
Well, you know this, George, and I've been through this as well. Confidence is a fleeting thing sometimes, and when you lose it, it's hard to get it back. And there's a thin line right there. And I remember being in those situations. I remember being in college one time where I lost my confidence. Don't know why. It's a mind deal. It's just like those batters getting up there and they go into these slumps. It's kind of a confidence deal. So he's got to get back where, as you said, he pitched great years ago. He's got to get back to that guy. He's just got to get his confidence back. And that's something that the coaches have to talk to him. We talked to Danny Evans, and I said this the other day on the phone. I would have loved to have played for a general manager like that, because the guy is a compassionate guy. He understands the game. If you're playing bad, he'll come up and give you some little nuggets to try to help you out. Well, that was kind of foreign to me, because when I played bad, I had my position coach, but like, you didn't have somebody from management coming down saying, hey, this is all you got to do. This is what you need to do. That's what makes him such a great person.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably what's happening to Soroka. He's probably got in there. He's lost a little bit of his confidence. He plays, he pitches really well, and then something happens and he kind of like, oh boy, here we go again. So he's got to get over that.
If Soroka were to come back to 80% of what he was, then you'll hear me say loudly, they're going to win this World Series.
Okay.
But I know what, in October, it is such a crazy deal, and you have to win your home games in October. And we'll just see. But boy, they look good.
Well,
they look like
that's
the
what
best
makes
team
baseball
out there.
crazy. That's what makes baseball crazy, George, because from game to game, you never really know. It's not like pro football a lot of times, where you can get beat on any given weekend. But like in baseball, you can be the best team in the league and you can lose to the Oakland A's, as Atlanta did a month ago. So it's just, you never know. And when you got a 5-game series, you never know how that 5-game series is going to go. You've got to win 3 of those games, and then you get a pitcher or 2 that gets hurt, or you get some guys that fall into a slump at the worst time. There's so much luck that's involved, George.
Every game matters. It's crazy. Yep. You think about it the first half before the All-Star break, and you say, "No, it's a meaningless loss to the A's." Who knows? I mean, you never, for the Braves, and that's a bad example, but you know what I'm saying. Every game really does matter.
After the break, speaking of confidence, we have none when it comes to
how'd y'all do last week?
Not real well.
Not real well.
Thanks for asking. Really appreciate that. But then afterwards, Kelly's World of Football is going to get into an individual who I believe has lost some confidence, which is interesting because this particular person was outward swagger, and everybody loved that about him. We'll talk about it when we come back. Stick around.
Hey, thank you for meeting with me today. The insurance company has made an offer.
Already? Wow.
They've offered you the entire policy.
Thank you, Blair.
You're so welcome.
Forget the fact that Sir Speedy Music City is owned by my BGA classmate James Warren. Their work stands on its own merit. James and his staff do incredible work, as evidenced by the huge banners at the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night. If you're looking for quality to help your marketing and business communications, and you want it at a reasonable price, these are your folks. Call them at 615-832-9511 or go to print at sirspeedymusiccity.com. And be sure to tell them Plaz sent you.
This is my buddy and former Nashville Sounds PA announcer Eric Berner. I always laughed in the old days at Greer Stadium when I would walk in, Eric would immediately play my favorite song, Van Halen's Jump. But then I learned he actually has a real job with Rockcastle Wealth Advisors.
Yeah, George, that's what I do. I help people in the pursuit of making their money live as long as they do. Everybody's situation is different, so I use a customized and individualized, personalized approach to the person I'm working with. Old 401ks, retirement planning, insurance planning, inheritance planning. Those are things that people like to get some more information about.
One of the things I find is people don't even know where to start, and that's where you come in.
Yeah, so I can usually help people with an initial phone call or meeting that is a no charge and no obligation.
And I'll bet you have a phone number and a website.
I do, George. They can call me at 615-235-1058 or rockcastlewealth.com or eric@rockcastlewealth.com.
Hello, this is Celeste Middleton, a State Farm agent in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. I want to help my neighbors and local businesses be proactive and assess their risk before something unexpected happens. We want you to have a thorough understanding of your coverages to have the best protection when you need it. We can create a personal price plan for you. Our team has over 70 years of experience helping people in Middle Tennessee. We have an awesome team with integrity and provide honest and prompt communication. And we love what we do and genuinely care about everyone we work with at our office. Give us a call at 615-895-2700. Send us a message at celestemiddleton.com or walk in at our office at 803 North Thompson Lane in Murfreesboro. We would love to earn your business.
Welcome to John English Antique Sports and Cards, located at 204 East Depot Street in beautiful downtown Shelbyville, Tennessee. Their phone number is area code 931-492-4304. John, obviously, I've been blown away by what I've seen at your place. I've now been there 3 times. But for the person who's never been, what should they expect?
Well, we have a 3,000 square foot store, George. Half of it is vintage cards in all sports, and then half of the store is, a lot of people call it the museum, where there's a lot of early equipment and just the history of sports in general: baseball, football, basketball, golf, tennis, and other items.
When somebody comes in there that you know is a big sports fan, what is their normal reaction?
Well, I think that they're pleasantly surprised, and of course, being in Shelbyville, Tennessee, which is a small town that you would never expect a shop like we have to be in. So they're kind of, I don't want to say blown away, but as I said, pleasantly surprised.
Welcome back in, 3 o'clock hour, broadcasting live from the beautiful Fordyce Center in Bellevue. It's time for Stat of the Day, brought to you by John English Antique Sports and Cards in Shelbyville, Tennessee. You can find them at 204 East Depot Street. They're open during the week, Tuesday through Friday, although probably not tomorrow, from noon to 5, and Saturdays from 10 a.m. to 5. Give them a call at 931-492-4304. All right, let's check out what we got. And David actually gave me this. So, David,
which means we're not going to get it.
Last night, Pete Alonso announced that he'll be participating in the Home Run Derby in Seattle. Alonso will look to win his 3rd career Home Run Derby. Can you name the player with the most Home Run Derby titles?
Why am I thinking Ken Griffey Jr.?
That's who I'm thinking. That's who it is.
Well, then let's go with it.
Y'all are real confident.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right. That's final answer?
I guess.
Yep.
Boom.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you, David. That one wasn't that hard.
Take that, David.
Yeah.
It's exactly who it was.
Would you say that was an easy question?
Look, I've said this before. When you're sitting in this seat on the air,
it's a little bit different.
Yeah, stuff that later you're like, how could I be that stupid? It just doesn't register.
Yeah, there's something about the camera on you and the head, the quick question, the quickness of the question.
Some of it's the camera because in radio, you can kind of do one of these where you just sort of, I'm wearing shorts if anybody wants to know, where you can just sort of kick back and think about it. But that camera,
it's like, give me it now.
Yeah, it forces you to some quicker answers.
That was quick though.
Yeah.
3. That's a lot. 3 times. Some
Wow.
people don't even want to play participate in the home run derby, though.
Oh, I think it messes up your swing. I'm thrilled. Best as I know, I don't think any of the Braves are in it.
Didn't somebody turn it down on the Braves? Or maybe that was somebody else. But
it could have been Acuna.
Whether it was Acuna or
I just
maybe
think you get into really bad habits. And I also think by the time you get to the 3rd round, you're exhausted.
Yeah. I mean, it's a big stamina thing. I mean, you've got to mentally say, all right, I'm going, or just kind of give in. So it'll be interesting.
It's like playing, George, is like playing in a scramble. I hate scrambles. And then when the guy gets up there and he bombs one, then you're wanting to outdrive him. So you get up there and you mess your swing up. Now, obviously, I'm not a PGA professional, but that's one thing I don't like about scrambles, because you tend to lose your swing because you're trying to swing out of your shoes. Kind of the same thing with baseball. You're right.
So nobody invite Kelly to a scramble for a couple of reasons. What he just said, and also the fact he can be a little bit of a social outcast.
I'm not disagreeing.
So, do we have his his big open?
We do.
Well, then by golly, let's play it.
It's a moment you have breathlessly awaited. It's time for Kelly Holcomb's World of Football. As shocking as this may sound, Kelly Holcomb's World of Football has sponsors. It's brought to you in part by Baird Financial with Yaz Hassan and Justin Oldham, and by State Farm Insurance, located in Murfreesboro through agent Celeste Middleton.
Interesting that confidence came up a few minutes ago, and Kelly knows this better than most of us, having been a professional athlete. When you've got confidence, there's nothing you can't do, and when you don't have it, there's nothing you can do.
Very thin line. Yeah, I'm very thin line, George. I'm telling you, I've lost it. I've gained it back. I've lost it. I've gained it. It's kind of a never-ending deal, and you just don't know why. Don't know why that happens, because you're there for a reason. God's given you ability to play, and for some reason, man, sometimes your confidence just wavers.
So when I think about people that play with swagger, man, the poster child is Baker Mayfield.
Yep.
I remember him in college planting that flag at Ohio State. That didn't go over real well. Not that I think he cared, but he had a swagger about him that a lot of us really liked, and a lot of us were kind of rooting for. He goes to Cleveland. Nothing really quite works out for him. And boom, Baker Mayfield has bounced all over the place in his career. And Kelly, recently, he came out with something to the effect that the short amount of time, and there he is in the Rams uniform, that the short amount of time he had under Sean McVay was huge for him, and really, in his mind, revitalized his career. He, of course, is trying to become the starting quarterback with the Tampa Bay Bucks. But talk to me about what you see out of Baker Mayfield, and why is it that we don't feel the same way we did as he was coming out of college?
Yeah, George, I don't know, because everybody was asking me, because he did take the Cleveland Browns to the playoffs, and they did beat the Pittsburgh Steelers that year. It was the first time that they'd been in the playoffs since I played back in 2002. So when he was coming out of college, he was a very accurate guy. I thought he was really good. Obviously, he won a lot of games there. He's one of those guys that you root for, George, because he's undersized. Always been undersized. He went to Texas Tech as a walk-on. Then he transferred to Oklahoma. I thought it was really interesting, Coach Cutcliffe, when we had him on a couple of weeks ago, he told us that he always had Peyton and Eli come back, and after their season was over, he would really get with them and go over the fundamentals, their footwork. And when he said that, I thought that is really something, because when you get in the National Football League, George, there's not a lot of they already, all those coaches, now I'm sure they're all coaches because I never got coached by all of them, but I'm sure that some of them are different. But the fundamentals kind of go away. You still do drills and things like that, but that's something that you should know by the time you get to the pros. So there's not a lot of time spent on that. So if you don't do that individually, like Coach Cutcliffe talked about, he brought Peyton and Eli back. If you don't do that individually, then you're not going to get much of that during the season. And sometimes you missing throws consistently has everything to do with your mechanics, has everything to do with your feet. And that's what I see from Baker Mayfield. He started off, he came in, I think, the third game of his rookie year, and then he started ever since. He got Kevin Stefanski as his coach there his second year. And I'm sure Sean McVay helped him. I'm sure he's got a new way, a new age of thinking. He's got a new age of doing things. I just hear good things from him. He's obviously won a Super Bowl. He's had some young guys. Now he's got Matthew Stafford. But I don't know what it is about Baker Mayfield. I think that if you look at his numbers, George, his first year he threw for over 3,000 yards. His second year he was a little bit higher, but then after that he's kind of fallen off. He got traded or let go 2 times last year, and now he's trying to catch on with the Tampa Bay Bucks. I just think that if you watch him play, when he overthrows balls, it's all about his feet, and people don't understand that. Like, a shooter everything starts with your feet, your mechanics. Everything starts with how you're connected to the ground, how you shoot a jump shot, how you field a ground ball, how you throw a ball from the pocket in football. And I think another thing that's happening to him too, George, is he's not a very big guy, and those guys are trying to smash the pocket in on him. And he's not a very fast runner, so they know he can get him, but they're trying to make him throw over guys. And I think a lot of times that has something to do with accuracy and has something to do with him overthrowing guys. But I like him. I think he's one of those guys that you would want to play for if you're an offensive lineman. He seems like he's got grit. He's determined. He's been through a lot in his career. He's had to overcome a lot of obstacles. He's had to overcome people saying, you're not big enough, you can't do it, like a Doug Flutie. So I'm for him. I'm obviously for him because he went to Tampa Bay and all my former coaches there. Todd Bowles, the head coach. Tom Moore, which is the assistant. I don't know what Tom does. It's a fleecing of America. But
Wait a minute. What would Tom be saying to Baker?
1, 2, 3, throw it away, son. You can't sit back here and hold the ball like that. You got to do something with it. Make the defense work. You know, Tom just got a deal with the National Football League Hall of Fame, where he's not a head coach and he's not a player, but he's got something where he's getting inducted. I think it's like I forget what it is. I forget what exactly it's called. I don't want to mess it up, but he's going in the Hall of Fame as a contributor is what it is.
Are you thinking about going up there?
I don't know. I haven't talked to him. I need to call him. Actually, I'm going to call him when we get off the show because that's reminding me to call him and congratulate him. But I didn't even know anything about it. I read an article. One of my former teammates hit me up with it the other day, and couldn't happen to a nicer guy. He's been in coaching for 45 years. Oh,
gosh, yes.
I think he's been in the NFL for 45 years, and then he's coached for ever. I mean, he's 84 years old.
Yeah. Pretty amazing life. You talk about one of these things, what do they call it? A football life on NFL Network. Tom Moore should have one of those.
Should, absolutely. He should.
So you think in Baker's case, footwork is a big deal? You've seen, because you're right, his accuracy level was much better in college than it's been in the pros, where you have smaller windows.
Man, he completed a bunch of balls in college. And when I watched him play against Georgia that night, and when I watched him play against some teams that were upper echelon Power 5 teams, I just remember saying, man, that guy, he's pretty good. And he's got a fieriness about him that everybody likes, fans like. He's got to get back to that. I think that's what got him there. I don't know if he's lost it because I'm not around him. I don't know him. I've never met him. But just watching him, the fundamentals get lost sometimes when you're in pro sports. And I'm not saying that that's what happens, but to me, it looks like that. I can remember going to Alabama and with my quarterback coach for middle here, we went and watched him practice one day, and Jalen Hurts was the quarterback. And Jalen Hurts, his 5-step drop, he jumped and I can't explain it on the radio here, but you always want to keep your shoulders level. But he jumped when he got to the top of his drop, and then he would have to level his shoulders, and that makes you inaccurate. You've got to I always tell kids when I'm coaching them, like, if you put a 2x4 over my head, I can take a 5-step, 7-step. I can do all these drills, and my head will never hit that board because I'm not up and down. And then I think Jalen Hurts has fixed that. And you just have to worry about the fundamentals individually, like yourself. If a coach is not going to do it, then I've got to do it. I've got to watch. And that was a good thing about Peyton. I can remember being his first year, and I thought he was a nerd by doing this, but he couldn't get this deal down where we were trying to pump fake somebody and then take 2 more steps and look. He couldn't get it down. So he had the camera guy stay out there with him, and he filmed himself, and he would always watch himself doing stuff like that. Even when he played for years and years, he would always go back and look and watch his feet and things like that, what he's doing in the pocket. So that was pretty impressive for me for a rookie guy to come in and do that. But I do think that has something to do with it, George. And obviously he said that Sean McVay helped him out tremendously. So we'll see how that transpires on the field with Tampa Bay, because I'm for him.
Okay, I'm going to go. This is the classic sports talk second guess. Peyton Manning, in my opinion, is the best pitch man on TV that I've ever seen come out of athletics. The guy is hilarious.
He is. He's funny.
He's really good at it. And I would say of athletes who get a lot of commercials, that Baker Mayfield is way up there in effectiveness as a pitch man. The commercials in the empty Cleveland Browns stadium. A lot of you, now that I'm bringing it up, can think of that. But the classic second guess, Kelly, when he wasn't doing well was, is he spending too much time on off the field stuff?
Well, that's what you have to think about when you're a quarterback. When you're the number 1 pick, you're going to get all these endorsements. You're going to get things like that, George, and you got to kind of compartmentalize them. And that's what Peyton did really well. I think you've got to get that. If you're going to take those commercials and do things like that, you have to keep that into perspective of, hey, I get to do this, and I'm very blessed that I get to do this, and I get to endorse this product. But really what got me here is the field, is playing, production on the gridiron. And I think you can definitely get messed up by that. You can start doing too much. You can spread yourself thin. And then that goes back into your conditioning. That goes back into, well, I'm not sleeping like normal. I've got this video shoot I've got to go do. I'm not getting the proper nutrition, and things like that come into effect when that stuff happens. But just like my quarterback coach said in college, as a quarterback, you got to have a personality. I think Baker's got a personality. I think he's got a really good personality. Peyton, it's really funny because people really didn't know that, but you kind of see his sarcasm in these shows, in these commercials that he does, in the deal with him and Eli and his dad. You see kind of the comedian side of Peyton, and I got to see that, and we played a lot of pranks on each other. We had a good time for a couple of years, but that can get in the way of production on the field, George. And you might be right. That could have an effect on what Baker was doing, and he had to say, hey, let's forget about that a little bit. Let's quit worrying about the endorsements because it's affecting me on the field, and if it does that, then I'm not going to get any more than the endorsements.
The best one is Peyton and Eli. They're watching film. I think it's with David, isn't it? With Coach Cutcliffe, and it's for the commercial, and they're both eating chips, and Eli was loud. I mean, he was the loudest chippy. Those are so good.
Hey, the funniest thing I ever saw Peyton do was that Saturday Night Live. I could not stop laughing. I texted him and I said, "Bro, you're a clown, dude." When he was throwing them footballs at those kids, and he told that one kid to go to the porta potty and shut the door. I mean, that was hilarious.
That's beautiful. After the break, I'm going to bring up something that maybe you haven't thought about, but maybe you should have. Stay with us.
How am I going to get to work? My car's totaled.
Skylar, our team is making a call right now. We'll get you a rental car. Don't worry.
That's a relief.
Call us 24/7. We're here. We're going to help.
Year number 2 of the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night was awesome. And the reason is really simple. I chose Strike and Spare, and they were amazing. They have great food, great bowling, and a staff that is truly ready to go the extra mile to help you. They have 5 family fun centers in the area to choose from, and for more info, go to strikeandspare.com or call them at 615-824-5685. Now that the weather has gotten considerably warmer, there's not a better place to spend a morning or an afternoon than Riverside Golf Links. So you've probably noticed the weather has gotten a lot warmer, and that means a couple of things in Nashville. It means baseball, and it really means golf. And for me, it's a visit to Riverside Golf Links. The course has improved dramatically. There are now 27 holes, including a 9-hole executive course. If you want tee times or more information, dial them up at 615-847-5074.
You can't see the sights without the sounds. From the crack of the bat to the roar of the crowd and everything in between, discover what Hit City has to offer. Spend your nights cheering on the Nashville Sounds at First Horizon Park with giveaways, fireworks shows, theme weekends, and more. Single game tickets are on sale now. Visit NashvilleSounds.com to claim your seat today.
Hello, this is Celeste Middleton, a State Farm agent in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. I want to help my neighbors and local businesses be proactive and assess their risk before something unexpected happens. We want you to have a thorough understanding of your coverages to have the best protection when you need it. We can create a personal price plan for you. Our team has over 70 years of experience helping people in Middle Tennessee. We have an awesome team with integrity and provide honest and prompt communication. And we love what we do and genuinely care about everyone we work with at our office. Give us a call at 615-895-2700. Send us a message at celestemiddleton.com or walk in at our office at 803 North Thompson Lane in Murfreesboro. We would love to earn your business.
Well, here's a thought that dawned on me yesterday at church. For the first time in 33 years, Nashville does not have leading its Convention and Visitors Bureau one Butch Spiriton.
Mm-hmm.
He retired effective on Friday, and shame on me for not doing this on Friday. But let's bring... Are we able to big screen that picture? Okay, that's fair enough.
That's the best I can do.
Okay, that's fair enough. Butch, if you're listening, and I know you're not, thank you for all the things you did for our city. I have often said that Butch Spiriton is the single most important person in Nashville history over those 33 years, and that includes some mayors who have done some really good things. Certainly he and Phil Bredesen would be right there toe to toe. There's no way to really, gauge that. But here's what I will tell you. Long before anybody was thinking about Nashville hosting an NFL draft, Butch had been yapping with me about it for 15 years. As you can probably tell, the name Spiriton is Greek. So we both went to the same church. And I can't tell you how many times that Butch would stop me, in the coffee hour or whatever, and say, what do you think about this? Or me say, hey, Butch, what's going on with y'all in the NFL? And Kelly, I know that his persistence over about a 15-year period is what ultimately got that event here. And then the thing about Butch, once he finally would lasso a group that maybe didn't totally believe, he'd force them to believe.
Yeah, obviously I don't know him like you do. Talk with him twice, I think, on this show here. But he's one of those guys, George, that you have to have in those positions that he will not take no for an answer. He's going to figure out you've got a problem, and he's going to figure out a solution. I've been around people where when they present problems, well, we can't do this and we can't do this. Well, I don't want to hear that. I want to hear a solution. Like, we've got a problem. Let's figure out a solution. And he just seems like one of those guys that is never going to take no for an answer. He's going to figure it out, and he's going to go the extra mile to get done what he wants done. And he's such a nice guy. He's very intelligent about the business side of things. And, you know, that day that we brought him on and he was talking about, I forget, the new stadium. He was talking about the new stadium and how they were going to try to fund that. And it was just, that was really impressive to me, because you and I were both talking about it, didn't know how they were going to do it, figured they were going to put it on the backs of the PSL people, which may happen. I don't know that. But what he said was pretty uplifting to me for the city of Nashville and the state of Tennessee about figuring out how to finish this bill that they're going to build for the Tennessee Titans.
And George, we just talked about confidence the last segment. There's nobody.
Butch never lacked confidence.
There's nobody that has more confidence in the city of Nashville than Butch Spearden. I mean, I go back when we had the Music City Grand Prix. Matt, what's his last name? Matt Cruz. We had Matt Cruz on, and you know, obviously Butch was in those talks, and Matt said that Butch had the most confidence out of anybody about Nashville, and that this can work in Nashville. So I thought that was interesting too.
Yeah. You know, tomorrow night, for those of you who are watching this live or on July 3rd, Nashville has one of the top 2 fireworks festivals, if you want to call it
maybe
that, 4th
of
July. It's been them in New York City. And anytime, first of all, Butch is the one that elevated this from a decent event to just insane how good it is. And anytime I would say, well, you know, New York's ranked number 1. Oh, man, that would light the Bunsen burner in him. We're going to be number 1. And you know what? Those of you who are there tomorrow night, he's the guy to thank. He's the guy that has put the energy and the love of this city behind it, and he is going to be badly missed.
Well, some of the accolades that he's had, George, he's been responsible for bringing so many things to Nashville. That convention center, the Nashville, he was in on all that stuff. So when I see him and when I talk to him, obviously I don't know him like you do, but he just seems like he exudes confidence. He's not going to take no for an answer, and he's going to get it done. You can't tell him that, hey, you can't get it done. When you tell him that, he seems like a guy that is going to go above and beyond. He's going to prove you wrong.
Amen. And that's one of the things I love about him. You give him a challenge, boom, he'll make you look stupid.
Yep.
And seems to enjoy doing it. Okay, after the break, we'll have Plaster Bet of the Day. Billy, let's just say that year number 1 of Plaster Bet of the Day, we're going to be on the right side of this.
So we're past the magic number. Is it possible?
You know, I don't know if we are or not. I'll
check.
Try to compute it during
I was hoping George was going to have to sit a couple of days out, like he was going to fake sick because he didn't want to make any more bets.
Oh, no. I'm like Ted Williams. That's not happening. You know, Ted Williams was given the opportunity on the day of that last time that he batted 400. They played a doubleheader. And at the end of the first game, he was over 400, and he was given the right to sit out game 2. And he went berserk and said, Well,
it's crazy. There had to be been some days where he's banged up. But physically, that's ridiculous.
Yeah. Anyway, Plaster Bet of the Day is coming up next. I know you'll want to see it.
You know, starting to save for your future doesn't have to be difficult. Let Wilson Bank and Trust help tone up your financial goals this year. Our certificates of deposits or CDs can help your money work harder with our competitive rates, earning you more than ever before. WBT checking options allow you to earn rewards you can really use, like a high interest rate or cash back on check card purchases when you meet some e-banking qualifications. Visit your closest Wilson Bank and Trust office or online at wilsonbank.com to get started today. Member FDIC.
As the trusted premier custom home builder in Middle Tennessee, Donnelly Timmons has over 20 years of experience in the industry. Whether you're looking to build your dream home or renovate your current home, their team will ensure that every client and every remodel is unique, luxurious, and completed on time within budget. Founders Dustin Timmons and Joey Donnelly have over 25 years of construction experience in the Nashville area. Together, they have completed projects in Forest Hills, Oak Hill, Green Hills, Franklin, and Brentwood. Dustin and Joey believe that communication is the most important aspect of all construction projects. Therefore, they personally manage each project themselves and are involved in job site activities on a daily basis. Their commitment to quality and integrity has earned them an outstanding reputation among their clients. Contact them to set an appointment for a free consultation or to view some of their completed projects. Give them a call at 615-456-7983 or log on to DonnellyTimmons.com.
At Baird, we have a different slant on global financial advice. That global capabilities mean nothing without personal attention. We have investor relationships in 35 countries and market expertise in over 40 industry verticals, all to help make the most important investment connections of all, yours. Global financial advice with a client-first approach. It's the shape of things to come. Discover the Baird difference at BairdDifference.com.
Family owned and operated for more than 2 decades, Alaco Fine Wood Floors is Nashville and Middle Tennessee's choice for premium quality hardwood floors. Since 1995, Jimmy Alaco and his army of employees have embodied the approach of taking pride in one's craft and providing superior customer service, growing from a one-man shop to a team of 23 professionals who share the founder's passion for quality craftsmanship and customer satisfaction. If you are interested in contacting them, you can find their headquarters at 2505 Winford Avenue in Berry Hill, or give them a call at 615-356-0303. Again, that's 615-356-0303, or log on to AlacoFineWoodFloors.com. Alaco Fine Wood Floors, serving Middle Tennessee's hardwood flooring needs since 1995.
Hey, thank you for meeting with me today. The insurance company has made an offer.
Already? Wow.
They've offered you the entire policy.
Thank you, Blair.
You're so welcome.
Final segment on a Monday, day before the 4th of July. So wishing all of you a fun-filled day tomorrow. We'll see if George has a successful night tonight. We'll see where he goes. But first, let's review last week. And I think y'all reviewed a lot of this. Kind of an up-and-down week. Lost with Texas, got some wins with Atlanta and L.A. But Baltimore, you picked Baltimore, and they got boat raced by Minnesota.
Baltimore scored like 3 runs in that entire series. They won one of the 3. They rallied with 2 in the 9th yesterday. They scored nothing against the Twins. It's not like the Twins are, the 71 Orioles.
And the Orioles were hot.
Pitching, yeah. I don't know. Anyway, Kelly, this has led me to a thought here. If I was to bet one bet every day between now and when we get to July the 10th, the worst I can do by going 0-5 is break even. But you know what? I'm better than that.
You're not going to sit it out?
Damn right I'm not. So on Friday, I may have 2 or 3 different plays on Friday.
Okay.
Oh,
just to make it interesting.
This might be an interesting ending.
Okay.
Down the stretch. I'm glad Kelly's here to see it.
And a frozen Ted Williams will come out of whatever he's in.
We
to
need
say,
to get
you
Watson.
fool.
We need to get Watson on the 10th and to recap it with us and just get his reaction.
And he'll be just as negative as Kelly.
You won't hear the end of it if you lose.
By the way, Kelly, we've been watching a game. For those of you who are seeing this show today, Houston, in an important game in the American League West, had a 10-2 lead on the Rangers. And just seconds before we came back on the air, Texas tied the game at 10-10.
Crazy.
Balls are flying out of the Metroplex.
And Milwaukee just tied it at 6 with Chicago.
Crazy stuff.
That's some good baseball today.
Hey,
Washington, by the way, plays a 10 o'clock in the morning game tomorrow.
Why?
Traditionally, because they get it out of the way early.
Let's make this broadcast a little smarter here. I looked up in the dictionary at garnishment. Okay.
Ooh, let's go.
A court order directing that money or property of a third party, usually wages paid by an employer, be served to satisfy a debt owed by a debtor.
You, Billy, are a debtor.
Correct. So we're garnishing your wages, boss.
So I think
give them to Mark.
I think what we've got to do over the 4th, Kelly, is you and I have to have some correspondence to figure out what is the debt.
Oh,
what is the debt and what is the punishment?
Now we're gonna monetarily do it, or we're gonna come. Do I get to go back to my old football days, and can we run him outside the Ford Ice Center? Can I get him like doing some tens and turns or something like that?
I would rather have the money.
Okay.
Just to be honest, you get 40%, I'll get 60%.
I'm in for that. Hey, money talks.
Yeah. Okay, so since it does, Kelly, I want you to listen very closely because we've got a good one today. Let's post it. Yep.
Oh.
The Reds are considerably better than the poor old Nats.
Boy, you're going out on a limb here.
Yeah, aren't I, though? But why is that line so low? Because Cincinnati's pitching Luke Weaver, who is not exactly a descendant of Cy Young. If he pitches well,
a descendant.
Put it on the board.
Yeah.
That's what we got. So, Kelly, will you be watching fireworks tomorrow night?
Yeah, I mean, every fireworks show looks the same, though, do they not? You just got to do it. I mean, I understand that.
Quit
being honest
being an antisocial.
I'm going to be watching fireworks. Yes,
I will say.
I don't like your answer, though. The spirit of your answer was so negative. Oh, they're all the same.
But that's the truth.
No.
Like, how many times can we? Like, you're going to get a fireworks show in Nashville, fireworks show in New York, but you're going to see the same thing.
And after 5 minutes, it's like, okay.
Oh, I love fireworks.
Luckily, I'm able to. We've got kids everywhere, so if you're around kids, it's like it makes it better,
right?
But you're not going to go with.
Kelly's attitude basically was,
I'm
the
going to
only
watch
way
it, George. I'm going to watch
interesting to you is to take the dog out and scare the hell out of him.
I'm going to somebody's house and I'm going to watch the fireworks. I am going to do that, but in all reality, I'm sorry.
Are you going to enjoy
show year after year?
God.
Now you can put all these people in Nashville. You can put the Laney Wilsons and the Keith Urbans on stage, and you can do all that you want to. But it's going to be the same fireworks show. I'm sorry.
Well, you know what? They don't have fireworks in Russia. So go visit up there if that's how you. Hey, you and your family have a safe 4th.
All right, brother. See y'all.
Billy, on your end, one word.
Yeah.
Garnishment.
I'm glad Kelly told us what garnishment was.
You know what? It solidified exactly what we got to do.
Yeah.
Okay, all of you. Number one, have a great 4th of July. Pay no attention to Kelly in his negativeness about fireworks. Enjoy the fireworks. It's symbolic of the fact that you live in the greatest country in the world. Don't ever forget that. Most importantly, drive safely tomorrow. We want you back safe and sound on Wednesday for another award-winning edition of this show. Bring Kelly back up for a second. Let's see if he's still there.
He's frozen.
He's frozen. We're out of here. Happy 4th.